The year is 1800. Steam powers ships, coal feeds factories, and the first whispers of modernity rise from the soot of the Industrial Revolution. But amid the smoke and gears of progress, imagine another kind of spark, not mechanical, but invisible. A spark that travels through copper wires instead of chimneys, that carries not heat, but information. What if the internet had been invented in this world of gas lamps and horse-drawn carriages? What if the age of steam had also been the age of data? In our timeline, the internet was born in the late 20th century, a child of satellites, transistors, and microchips. It emerged in a world already globalized, digitized, and electric. But what if it had come a century and a half earlier, born not from silicon, but from steel and telegraph lines? Imagine London in 1800, a city of 10,000 chimneys, all connected by a network of wires and pneumatic tubes. Messages no longer travel by ship or courier, but through instant pulses of light and steam. Imagine Napoleon reading coded data through mechanical lenses. Imagine factories sharing blueprints across continents. Imagine empires built not on armies, but on algorithms of brass. Would such a world, industrial, mechanical, interconnected, have advanced faster or collapsed sooner? Would humanity have mastered information, or would information have mastered humanity even earlier? If the internet had been invented in 1800, would we still be its creators, or its captives? History didn't end, it just connected sooner. It begins, as most revolutions do, with an accident. In 1799, English scientist Humphrey Davy experiments with voltaic piles, primitive batteries made from copper and zinc discs stacked between cloth soaked in acid. In our world, these experiments lead to the discovery of electrochemistry. But in this alternate timeline, one of Davy's apprentices, a young mechanic obsessed with telegraphs, realizes that electrical currents can carry not just single impulses, but patterns. Over the next decade, inventors across Europe compete to perfect the analytical telegraph, a device capable of transmitting coded electrical pulses across vast distances. What begins as a curiosity of scientists soon becomes the obsession of empires. The Napoleonic Wars accelerate its adoption. France uses long-range copper lines to coordinate troop movements, while Britain, terrified of losing its colonies, funds a continental network of information relays. By 1815, the same year Napoleon falls at Waterloo, the trans-European telegraph grid already exists, stretching from Lisbon to Warsaw. Every message, every transaction, every military order now flows through this humming web of copper and steam-driven compressors. The Industrial Revolution, which in our world was powered by coal, now gains a second fuel, data. Davy's apprentice, now known as Thomas Lovelace, a fictional composite of Charles Babbage's mathematics and Ada Lovelace's vision, pioneers a mechanical calculator capable of translating telegraph signals into numbers and words. Factories adopt these machines to manage inventories, trade, and payroll. London merchants call it the counting engine. By 1830, the first mechanical data centers occupy entire warehouses, powered by pistons and steam turbines. Information, once local, becomes industrial. Governments realize that the true power of empire lies not in armies, but in control of communication. The British Parliament passes the Information Act of 1834, centralizing data collection under the Royal Telegraph Office. The Ottoman Empire installs copper lines along trade routes from Istanbul to Cairo, and across the Atlantic, a young American inventor named Samuel Morse improves the European code, turning the analytical telegraph into a programmable machine capable of sending complex commands. The world of 1835 hums with energy, both mechanical and informational. Steam locomotives carry goods, telegraph lines carry knowledge. A new phrase enters political discourse: the network. It is here, amid soot, steel, and steam, that humanity takes its first irreversible step into a connected age, not digital, not electric, but powered by the same force that will always drive progress: curiosity. By the mid-19th century, The analytical telegraph network had reshaped civilization more completely than steam ever did. Factories, once isolated by geography, now operate as a single, synchronized organism. Coal output in Wales adjusts hourly to demand from Parisian steelworks. London's merchants monitor shipments in real time from Bombay. The world's first data economy is born, not digital, but mechanical, measured in pulses per minute rather than bytes per second. Governments are quick to recognize the power of this invisible infrastructure. The British Empire, already master of sea and trade, becomes master of signal. Every colony is linked to London through undersea cables powered by clockwork compressors. Decisions that once took months of correspondence now happen within hours. The empire becomes less about red lines on a map and more about copper veins beneath it. In this timeline, the Industrial Revolution never fragments. Information keeps markets stable, coordinating prices across continents. The economic booms and busts of our 19th century are softened. The Panic of 1857 never arrives, nor does the Great Depression of agriculture that followed it. But the same technology that prevents chaos also creates control. Governments, able to monitor every telegram, begin cataloging citizens and their communications. The United States, still young, follows Britain's lead. Washington establishes the Office of National Telegraphs in 1848, building a federal archive of every message transmitted through public lines. Its justification is national security. Its consequence is surveillance. Democracy, once slow and deliberative, becomes instantaneous and manipulable. By 1850, newspapers no longer rely on correspondence. They rely on the network. News agencies transmit global reports through shared data hubs, giving rise to the first international media monopolies. Propaganda moves faster than armies. Revolutions can be crushed before they form, or inflamed before they can be understood. When the Crimean War breaks out in 1853, both sides fight not only with cannons, but with information. Battlefield results are transmitted within minutes to capitals. Public opinion swings wildly with every coded dispatch. The first information war in history begins, one fought not in trenches, but across copper lines. By the time Queen Victoria sends her annual address via telegraph in 1860, the world has become addicted to connectivity. Information is no longer a tool, it is an instinct. Every merchant, minister, and monarch believes that to disconnect is to disappear. The first shockwave of the internet that never was is not invention. It is dependence. The human race, having learned to master the message, now begins to serve it. The new century dawns not with the roar of cannons, but with the hiss of cables. By 1880, the world is threaded together in copper and steam, a living nervous system stretching from London to Calcutta, from Boston to Shanghai. The internet of this mechanical age has transformed how humanity thinks, learns, and believes. In London, coffee houses once filled with gossip and pamphlets are replaced by public data halls, smoky rooms where citizens gather to read printed message sheets compiled from the telegraphic feeds of the empire. These are the world's first news aggregators, columns of condensed data, quotes, and statistics churned out by operators working in shifts beside hissing steam pumps. Education changes forever. The Royal Academy introduces remote correspondence machines, allowing students in colonial outposts to receive lectures from Oxford via encoded telegraph lines. The first distance university is born, decades before radio or film. The democratization of knowledge, however, comes with a price. Misinformation spreads just as quickly. Rumors transmitted through local circuits trigger panics, riots, and religious hysteria before truth can catch up. Culture itself becomes mechanical. Artisans feed hand-drawn sketches into photonic imprinters, early optical scanners powered by lantern light and gears, transmitting portraits and designs across the empire. The wealthy commission family likenesses to be telegraphed to relatives overseas. Artists find their works replicated endlessly in distant galleries. Copyright law collapses before it ever existed. Social life, too, begins to change. The upper class adopt personal telegraph terminals, ornate brass consoles allowing users to send messages instantly within closed circles. These networks of privilege become the first social platforms, where reputation and rumor define influence. Instead of letters and salons, the elite trade coded gossip. Political scandals erupt overnight, careers destroyed by leaked transmissions. The moralists of the Victorian age are horrified. They call it the age of noise. Preachers warn that constant communication weakens the soul. Philosophers lament that reflection has been replaced by reaction. For the first time in history, people know too much and understand too little. Yet for all its chaos, the cultural ripple of this early internet fuels invention. Every nation connected by the network shares discoveries instantly. Vaccines, blueprints, and scientific theories circulate faster than borders can contain them. The Industrial Revolution, once a European phenomenon, becomes global. By the turn of the 20th century, humanity stands on the edge of a new transformation, not industrial, not political, but informational. A species that once sought power over nature has now found something greater, power over knowledge itself. The 20th century in this alternate world unfolds under a soft mechanical hum, the sound of relays, gears, and pneumatic pulses. What the steam engine did for distance, the network does for time. It erases it. By 1900, nearly every industrial nation is wired into a global mesh of copper. The international telegraphic protocols, agreed upon at the Vienna Convention of 1895, unify transmission standards worldwide. The same coded pulses that once carried Morse messages now form a universal language of information, a precursor to binary, expressed in mechanical rhythm instead of electricity. The global economy becomes algorithmic long before the word exists. Data centers, vast warehouses of whirring machines and clerks, manage inventories, census records, and financial exchanges. Prices in New York and Shanghai move in perfect synchronization. The invisible hand that Adam Smith once imagined now has a nervous system. Empires learn quickly that whoever owns the servers of steam owns the future. Britain and the United States form an information alliance, standardizing the global grid under joint supervision. France and Russia build competing continental systems. The Ottoman Federation, still standing in this timeline, uses its geographic position to host the critical trunk lines linking Europe and Asia, transforming Istanbul into the mechanical heart of global connectivity. Wars change because of the network. The First World War begins in 1914 as in our own timeline, but it lasts only 18 months. Nations no longer rely on delayed intelligence or confusion. Every army moves according to data. Propaganda is immediate. Casualties are counted and reported in real time. The shock of transparency cripples morale faster than any weapon. When the armistice is signed in 1916, generals quietly admit that the greatest killer of the war was not the machine gun, it was information. In the interwar years, social transformation follows. The citizen terminals, mass-produced by German and American engineers, bring access to the global network into private homes. A middle-class family in Manchester can read live reports from Calcutta, order goods from the New World, or communicate instantly with colonial relatives. The first truly connected society emerges, industrial, literate, and dependent. By the 1950s, the network has grown too vast for human operators to maintain manually. Steam logic gives way to electromechanical processors, a blend of relay switches and vacuum tubes designed to manage information autonomously. The World Data Council, headquartered in Geneva, begins compiling profiles for every registered citizen, a vast index of communications, trades, and travel records. Privacy becomes an ancient concept. Society adapts through resignation. What is known by one, says a popular British philosopher of the era, is known by all. By the 1970s, physical copper gives way to light relays. Early optical lines transmitting through glass fibers invented a century early. The world's first real-time holographic broadcasts link classrooms, parliaments, and markets. the world has become both enlightened and enslaved. The empires of the 18th century are gone, but the empire of information endures, invisible, borderless, absolute. By 2000, no nation controls the network. The network controls nations. Algorithms, first written to manage steam pumps, now decide elections, currency flows, and even art trends. Humanity has built a world where knowledge is infinite, but comprehension remains finite. And in the glow of mechanical screens and whirring servers, the question once asked in 1800 finally returns. Who commands the machine, and who merely obeys it? Every civilization believes it can master the tools it creates. The Victorians once thought steam would free them from labor. The early telegraphists believed information would liberate minds. Yet, in this alternate world, as in ours, progress does not erase human nature. It only amplifies it. By the 21st century, the great paradox of this mechanical internet is clear. The faster humanity connects, the less it reflects. Thought has become transmission, identity, a signal. In the archives of the World Data Council, every word ever sent is preserved. Every rumor, every confession, every idea. Humanity has achieved perfect memory, and in doing so, forgotten how to forget. The moral legacy of this early internet is not one of tyranny, but of dependence. The same empires that once fought for land now fight for algorithms. The same citizens who once revolted against kings now surrender daily to systems they cannot see. It is not oppression that defines the modern age, but participation, the quiet, voluntary obedience of those who cannot bear disconnection. In the history of this alternate timeline, there are no dictators of data, no total wars for the network. There is something subtler, more profound, a civilization that mistakes information for wisdom. Historians of the 2100s will look back on this world with awe and unease. They will find that the mechanical internet of 1800 gave humanity knowledge without empathy, unity without understanding, and surveillance without violence. The lesson is simple, but never easy. Every technology that connects us also contains the seed of control. And no matter the century, whether 1800 or 2000, the architecture of the internet was never built to serve power. It was built to reveal it. The Ottomans called it hikmet, the wisdom of balance. Perhaps that, more than any wire or code, is what the world truly lost. History often measures progress by invention, but invention alone is not progress. In this world, the internet came too soon, and humanity built a nervous system before it grew a conscience. Machines could think faster than people could feel. Information traveled at the speed of light, while wisdom still walked on foot. Would the modern age be different if the internet had been born of gears instead of glass? Would social media still command our attention, our time, our thoughts? The answer, perhaps, is yes, because the machine was never the master. Human desire was. The network changed shape, but not nature. Whether powered by steam or silicon, the result is the same. We built mirrors and called them windows. History didn't end. It just connected sooner.